Is our needs assessment on the USDA-NRCS. I am Emily Brooks, and I am a senior studying ACE from Prophetstown, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Olivia Charles. I am a senior studying Ag Communications, and I'm from Mount Carroll, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Carrie. I'm a junior studying animal science, and I'm from Princeville, Illinois.
And my name is Carmen. I'm studying agricultural leadership, education, communications, and I'm from Chicago, Illinois.
So the gap presented here in the needs assessment is the differences in the knowledge and experience between the employees of the USDA and RCS with an agricultural background versus the ones that have a non-agricultural background. And so the goal of this needs assessment was to find ways that we can bridge this gap between the newly hired employees who lack this kind of agricultural background knowledge and their clients who are mostly farmers who have been in the field for a very long time and have very extensive knowledge. And this way that can improve the connections between the two groups. And as a result, we hope that this will elevate their workplace experience and give them the ability to form better employee-client relationships.
So the methods we use, we did a document review of their job application, their interview/HR and training protocol paperwork, as well as analyze these documents for their faults and missing information. With that, we made recommendations for updates to increase the quality of training for the employees. And we sent out a trainee survey, and the employees were asked a set of questions with a variety of both on a scale, or they were both open-ended about their agriculture backgrounds and with ag-related topics. In addition, we did, with that survey, we also had a supervisor survey where the managers were asked a set of questions as well, where they were both on a scale and as well as open-ended about their experiences with training new hires and the scope of trainings and their preferred training methods.
So we found that the problem was that conservationists needed to be more prepared and trained to create and maintain a lasting relationship with their clients. Our survey found that employees rated the satisfaction of their onboard training an average of 2.55 out of 5, which we felt like was much lower than it should be. So that's why our recommendation is to increase those training materials so that we can minimize this problem. So this is some data that we found for conservationists. In the two graphs, we can see that a large majority of the conservationists have worked for the USDA-NRCS for less than 3 years. So this means that the training is still really fresh on their minds and still like makes a big impact on what they do on a daily basis. So that's why this training is so important. And then in the bottom graph, you can see their designation level, and a large majority of them are still level 1, which also shows like how important that training is because they're still at the lower level. And then on the other side, you can see that we have some quotes. So a couple of different questions that we asked for open-ended questions were like, has your preparation for visiting a landowner's farm changed with the training that you received since starting with the USDA-NRCS? And we found, you can read these quotes, that they did see a change in their ability to talk to farmers throughout that training and with visiting an increase of farms. And then the bottom question was, are there any recommendations that you have pertaining to the training content you received? And they did say that the officer training or the onboarding trainings were required and that the supervisors were shadowing, or like the new hires could shadow the supervisors. But ultimately through those quotes, we still felt there was definitely a need for an increase in like relationships between supervisors and employees, and just revamping that training material so that they get a more well-rounded perspective of their role.
So on the other side, when we surveyed our supervisors or our district conservationists, we can see that majority of them have been employed with the USDA-NRCS for over 10 years. Some of them were even into the 20s and 30 years, which is a very long time. So they do have a lot of experience under their belt. On the side, you can see 2 questions that we asked them during our surveys. The first one that includes, do you think employees that you train are engaged in the training process? Why or why not? A lot of them kind of varied in answers. Some of them were yes, but then it could still be more interactive. Or others blatantly just said that they're not engaged in any online training at all, but that they're more engaged in the field and in person more and more. Our second question asked if they had any recommendations pertaining to their training content that themselves or their employees received, meaning the soil conservationists and technicians. And then if they thought anything should be added, removed, etc. So like I said, they wanted to really make in-person learning a priority again, and to encourage specialists to reach out to newbies and spend more time with them to form that connection, not only in the workplace, but then they could take it and move it on later on to the clients. And then some other employees also thought there should be some type of training or guidebook that could help employees more facilitate these conversations with their clients, or kind of get more of an idea of how they could form these relationships. And that's just something that's really missing at the moment through their trainings and through their different levels of designation planning that they have. So with saying all of that, with our survey data and identifying our problem, we have 3 current recommendations for the USDA-NRCS to help their employees form more better client relations. So our first recommendation is restructuring training practices. So like we said, a lot of the training currently is more virtual, and their employees want to see more in person, and then to focus more locally, rather than doing it at like the statewide level or nationwide level, because different experiences are tailored to different regions of the state, depending on what the farmers grow and things like that. Another recommendation we have is to give employees shadowing opportunities. So what we mean by this is to have more of an in-person, like more office preparation beforehand. So to see more experienced employees in the office, see how they prepare for a meeting with their clients, what things they should be thinking about, what notes they should be taking down, what factors they should be looking at. And then also taking that shadowing experience into the actual field with their clients. So seeing how an employee should interact with the client, see what relations they should be and things like that, and what things they should be talking about, what vocabulary they should be using. Because a lot of managers felt like their employees just weren't really skilled in that area of having that conversation with clients, which is very crucial. And then our final recommendation is to improve engagement, like we said. So a lot of managers and employees were kind of seeking more different formats of training. So some of it could still be virtual, because not everything could be done in person, especially with the new advances we have. Some things are just easier that way. Having some guests come in, whether these are more experienced employees, people who are from more different training development areas in the USDA, to come and speak to their employees, or just having more on-site client interactions, and have training implemented in that some way, shape, or form. So that is our presentation, our needs assessment, and we hope that the USDA-NRCS is able to take these into consideration when they look in the future to see how they could form better connections between their employees and their clients.